One burning question is now consuming the entire ARMY community around the world. Why does it seem like Taehyung has disappeared from BTS's main narrative? And why has Jungkook suddenly taken a drastic step that no one ever predicted? This tension is not just a social media rumor or the result of overactive fan imagination. It is a real reaction from millions of voices demanding justice for the disappearance of a crucial figure in BTS's dynamic. And amid this upheaval, Jungkook, the magne known for being calm and obedient, has unexpectedly become the central force behind a movement that is once again placing HYBE under the harshest spotlight. The emotionally charged Bring Back Taehyung movement is no longer just a viral slogan on social media. It has transformed into a collective act of resistance by ARMY against a system perceived to have sidelined Taehyung from major stages, group interactions, and even the public narrative long controlled entirely by untouchable managerial power. And when no representative from the highest authority stepped forward, the public was instead stunned by Jungkook's quiet action, an action considered a bold code about what is really happening behind the scenes, an official announcement.
No clarification.
No public narrative capable of explaining why Taehyung no longer appears with Jungkook in various public agendas. What remains is a very real void, a conspicuous absence that sounds the alarm for loyal fans. As one solo activity after another surfaces, an unavoidable question arises. Why are those who used to be closest now seemingly walking paths that never intersect? Is this purely a personal strategy, or is there a bigger, darker interest at play beyond mere career separation? The public response is anything but mild. The hashtag Justice for Taehyung has evolved into a global campaign. Videos, compilations of evidence, and deep analyses of the unequal treatment toward Taehyung flood digital platforms. But even more shocking, in the midst of this pressure, Jungkook made a symbolic gesture that caused the global community to pause. In his recent live stream, Jungkook delivered a sentence that didn't name anyone, but was strong enough to be read as an emotional code. "I always wanted us to stay together, but sometimes the path isn't mine to choose." That sentence became the spark that reignited suspicions that forces beyond BTS members' control are determining their public involvement. Why did Jungkook say it now? Why did the sentence feel so meaningful, especially amid the demand to bring Taehyung back? Many believe it's no coincidence. Some ARMY are convinced this was Jungkook's way of resisting a system too rigid to be exposed openly. Across fan discussion forums, interpretations suggest the sentence was an expression of regret and rebellion. That if he couldn't speak clearly, he would speak through action, body language, and his absence from activities he perceives as unjust. Most fans also emphasize that Jungkook and Taehyung have long shared an unmistakably genuine bond. In countless BTS documentary moments, their closeness was never just a stage gimmick, but an emotional connection that developed naturally. So when these two are systematically separated in promotions and group interactions, fans don't just feel the loss of sweet moments, they feel the emotional imbalance of BTS itself. Is this part of HYBE's grand strategy to divert market attention? Or is it a form of control over individuality considered too powerful to be directed? ARMY's next steps are no joke. Digital petitions have begun to surface. Requests for clarification aren't just directed at management, but now involve major international media to amplify this disparity. Meanwhile, Jungkook continues to display ambiguous yet powerful signals, from his song choices during lives to subtle gestures that seem to convey he is not okay with the situation. A crisis of trust in management is growing louder. Fans are no longer just questioning Taehyung's disappearance, but also the direction of the members' freedom post-contract renewal. Are they truly given the space to choose their own paths? Or is all this merely the illusion of choice, while the real direction is decided by unseen hands? In his silence, Jungkook has become the face of unspoken resistance. ARMY sees him as a representation of loyalty that can no longer be voiced in clear words. He is the symbol of an internal struggle between team devotion and inescapable systemic boundaries. While no other member gives signals, Jungkook slowly opens a crack for the public to see that something is not right behind the stage. Could this be the beginning of the downfall of HYBE's carefully preserved perfect image? Will fan pressure be strong enough to reverse decisions that seem final? Or instead, will this pressure be answered with a new strategy that distances the public even further from the truth? One thing is certain, the world is now watching. And the spotlight is no longer solely on Taehyung, who has vanished from the main narrative, but also on Jungkook, who, perhaps unintentionally, ignited far bigger questions. Can justice in this entertainment world truly be fought for by the collective voice of fans? Or will it all end as a temporary narrative silenced by a system too powerful to challenge? Army has spoken. They demand justice. And in the loudest silence, Jungkook's step has become the alarm waking the world from the illusion of harmony long believed to be true. Now, all eyes turn to one question. Will Taehyung return? And if so, what must be sacrificed for that truth to be realized? In a world increasingly saturated with information competing for attention, the emergence of this issue about Taehyung's disappearance from BTS's central narrative and Jungkook's unexpected action has become a social phenomenon that cannot be taken lightly. However, before the public is swept away by waves of emotion and explosive demands, one fundamental question must not be ignored. Is all this truly happening? Or are we witnessing a show designed to steer opinion and shape public perception according to a certain agenda? Claims about Taehyung's removal from promotional stages and Jungkook's symbolic action have indeed ignited ARMY's emotions worldwide. But are these burning emotions built on verified facts, or merely drawn from fragmented narratives on social media that may not be accountable for their truth? We all must question every piece of information we consume, especially when it comes from platforms whose algorithms are designed to provoke emotional reactions rather than deliver accurate data. There's no denying that TikTok videos showing manipulative group interactions, Twitter posts suggesting Taehyung's absence from collective activities, and YouTube compilations showing differential treatment between members have significantly shaped public opinion. But shouldn't we dig deeper? Who is crafting this narrative? In whose interest are these videos and analyses being promoted? Is it possible that this is part of a deliberate perception engineering? We must also question the context behind each viral video clip. How many of us have verified their authenticity? Are they really what the content creator framed them to be? Or has the information been edited to convey a certain impression? These are fundamental questions that every self-proclaimed critical and responsible observer must ask. In an entertainment industry heavily controlled by capital power and marketing strategies, it's not impossible that every move, even every natural conflict, is part of a meticulously crafted scenario. So the question is Taehyung's absence a form of rebellion, a victim of the system, or part of an intentional strategy to generate controversy? And further, are Jungkook's perceived resistance signals truly personal expressions, or part of a larger narrative we have yet to fully comprehend? It must be understood that the emotional involvement of masses like ARMY in this issue has significant impacts on institutional image, managerial decisions, and even individual career paths. Therefore, who is actually benefiting from the spotlighted fracture? Is it really the artists themselves or the business entities operating behind the scenes? Skepticism toward all these possibilities is not just important. It's absolutely necessary so we don't become part of a crowd easily manipulated by algorithm-driven opinions and media framing. We're not declaring that these issues are untrue, but we also will not validate anything without full facts. For that reason, we urge readers to pause and ask themselves, why are we so quick to believe scattered information on social media? Do we truly understand the context? Or are we just following the emotional tide without thinking twice? This is the kind of intellectual responsibility that must accompany every reaction to circulating news or speculation. Let us consider for a moment, if injustice in managing Taehyung as a BTS member is indeed occurring, why is not a single internal figure spoken out explicitly? Why are all messages implicit, ambiguous, and filled with symbolism? If there really is pressure or conflict, would a system as vast as HYBE allow such a crack to leak to the public without a filter? Or is this all a subtle game to maintain relevance amid constantly shifting market pressures? Even when Jungkook appears to utter emotional sentences in his live streams, we must ask, Are these statements truly born of unbearable personal feelings, or are they part of a covert communication strategy designed to create emotional resonance? We must remember that public figures like Jungkook are never in a truly free communication space. Every word they say, every song they choose, and even their facial expressions have been filtered, both internally and externally. This is why a reflective stance is crucial. Viral information is not always true. Emotions that feel intense do not always stem from truth, especially when that information originates from platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Platforms structurally focus not on accuracy, but on engagement and emotional interaction. Therefore, every individual who claims to be a fan, observer, or even sympathizer must maintain intellectual distance and not be swept up in provocative currents without a strong foundation. We do not lead readers to one conclusion. We open space for you to think independently, dig deeper, and ask more critical questions. Do you believe this conflict is real? Do you feel Taehyung was truly sacrificed? Are you certain Jungkook is sending a secret message to ARMY? Or are you starting to realize that all this may just be a systematically constructed narrative by powers greater than the artists themselves? Do not let your emotional attachment become a doorway for information manipulation. Do not let your loyalty to an artist blind you to the complexities truly happening in this industry. And most importantly, never stop asking questions. Amid media noise and speculative chaos, the most important voice is your own awareness. So think again. Is this reality? Or merely a shadow intentionally projected to create deep attachment to something not entirely real? In closing, we reiterate that all circulating information to date comes from social media and open platforms. Not one of them can be regarded as absolute proof. Therefore, any public conclusion must be based on logical, reflective, and skeptical thinking. If not, then we are not searching for truth. We are merely satisfying emotional impulses within a digital noise maze filled with illusions.